Once upon a time, I said, I'm going to 7.5 times phase 4 of the continuous space elevator. Well, welcome to stupid plan mark 4, I think, where we actually start to do that. What's up everyone, my name's Ollie, and welcome to Barely Building. Last time, we finalised the control room for the waste plant, drawing a line under the nuclear project for now, and upgrading our world to nuclear from turbo fuel. And today, we start the journey towards phase 5. A quick fly by the community hub and shout out to my OGs. This new wall is filling up fast. Thanks again to the new and continued support, it's much appreciated. Just drop a sub to the channel and comment I sub to get up here. YouTube doesn't always tell me new subs, so that's the best way to let me know. Now, where to start? I want to build a steampunk style building. The vision is to use nuclear reactors all around here to provide us with some steam to really make the whole thing pop. So let's make a start by outlining all of these waterfalls, see what we've got, and go from there. Now, this is one of those tricks that makes you feel like a genius, even though I definitely learned it from someone smarter than I am. I want to follow these waterfalls, which is going to mean building off the world grid. But if we take a foundation first, lock it to the world grid about where we want it, and then when we build on top of it and rotate, we're now rotating on the world grid itself. So as long as we move in nudges of 8, no matter what we do, we'll always be able to reconnect to the world grid in one way or another. So we'll carry on sketching around the edge of this waterfall. We'll use vertical nudge to go down. And let's see what we get. And here we go. We've got this basic outline in. Next, I want to make some tunnels with a grate in them to simulate water flowing through smaller sections of the build. We're going to make it out of pillars. We can take a beam connector, nudge that right into the center. And the way we're going to build this is to take a beam. We'll run this to the edge. Take our pillar, nudge this about where we want it, which is here. We can then delete this beam, change to diagonal mode, and we're going to run right up to the edge here, right on the end. Place, take another pillar, and nudge that all the way along. Now we won't get a perfect join, but repeating this pattern, it will be good enough. Now this is the kind of thing that when you get about halfway through it, it will make you question every life choice that you've ever made. But then it looks really cool and you forget all of that pain. And all I did was use painted beams to create this great effect on the front. Made a blueprint of this circle and then just spammed it over and over again all the way to the back here. It does look very cool. And with a bunch of nuclear power plants placed in, you can hopefully see the vision of what we're going for here. Now the next step is just to place some foundations. We're going to kind of just go around and sort of outline the shape of the building. I then went around with some foundations using some rails to get this nice outline. We want to kind of curve the building just to make it try and flow with the scenery a little bit. And then we can zoom this up about as high as we want it. So bear with me while I do this a billion times. And that gives us the basic giant concrete slab of what this building's going to look like. I do potentially want to leave some areas that can be expanded on, likely upwards. And we'll be sure to do something really cool with this centerpiece here. First though, a standard nuclear power plant, it's just not going to cut it for this build. So let me know, what do you think about this? My custom homemade reactor thingy. I've done some of the usual tricks. I've put like a circle ring around the top here, which should encase the smoke nicely. We've got some nice chrome pipes on the front, some nice signs for some light. It's going to fit the theme so much better. And with a bunch of these added in all over the place, yeah. Make sure you stick around to the end to see these things running. It's something else. So now the next question, how do we make this not look like a giant slab of concrete? One very important step is depth. This is never going to look good no matter how much paint we stick on the front of it. What will improve it is cutting out some sections to add a little bit of depth to the build. And then we can nudge in some windows and maybe some half foundations painted a different color. And already you can see how much better this is going to make it look. Depth fixes absolutely everything. It's like contouring but for factories. In the blueprinter I've created a couple of circles with some nice glowing cores. A smaller one to go in the gaps of these walls, and the larger ones to go on this center circle here. I've added in some pillars just for some highlights. I've darkened down the walls and some pipes along this wall. And I also wanted to do something with this rock that's kind of like the centerpiece of the build. So we've slapped one of the giant circles on the front, and you can do some really cool stuff with these H-beams. If you take one of the beams and you grab yourself a sign, and then you half nudge it inside, place the sign right inside the H-beam, and it gives you this really nice looking effect. So we've spammed that down this little runway, starting to look really good around here. Now, I thought our spire could look good if we put a big domed roof on the top of it. And to do that, we're taking the same technique as we've used before, just supercharged with 5 pillars on each section, which will take up the width of a foundation. Now, we've got to take this all the way around and just hope and pray that this looks good. And remember how a few minutes ago me was like, yeah, be fully prepared in your head if it's trash to start over. Well, after spending far too long on this, I hate it. I hate it. Spent way too long on this build for it to look like a sad cupcake. So let's chop that out and go with this flatter design. And yeah, 1000% better. The continuous space elevator nudged in there, it's really setting this section off. I've gone with this look by using signs inside here. It kind of gives it that power core feel to the base. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. So all we've got left to do is keep working our way around the building. The top walls go in, then here and here. Tidy up all these outlines and add in some finer details along here. And with that done, there's one more area I want to deal with. We have this big concrete block back here, and I figured we could use this space to house some of the many hundreds of refineries we need for this project. And what I'm thinking is we can drop a water extractor down here for reference, nudge up a foundation so that we're clear of the water extractor, nudge up maybe another 6 so that we can have a logistics floor and zoom that out a little bit. Then we can drop a refinery down on top, and then we can kind of nudge some foundations and things inside the refinery. Add in like a little bit of detail. Add in some lights and some beams for some decor. We have this kind of cool looking refinery here, because spamming hundreds of refineries, it can be really tough to make them look cool. So let's add this into the blueprinter so we can spam this a bunch of times. And we probably won't fill this entire space. We're going to leave the back open for expansion. And yeah, that is a lot of refineries and nowhere near as many as we're going to need. So we need to break this up. It's still looking kind of flat. So I was thinking we could take some large concrete pillars, zoom them down the middle here, and then using the half nudge, we can get these dead center around the chimneys coming out of the refineries. Maybe chuck down a beam support underneath. So let's spam that and see how it looks. And this is breaking this up really nicely, but I'm not sure about the color. Maybe copper? Absolutely copper. Whew, this looks good. We'll leave this area open at the back for expansion if we need to. And with it built like this, we can have all the water extractors underneath here, which is going to keep this area looking real nice and tidy. One more thing I want to show you. Let's see how this build looks with all of these power plants running. And I am super done in from this. Once it got flowing, it wasn't too bad, but this took some hours to figure out. We can't really do too much more, as the quantity of machines will dictate the final size of this place. So we need to leave some open space. Next time, we'll start bringing in some resources to make a start on this factory. So don't forget to subscribe and comment I subbed to get up onto the community wall. And I will see you in the next one.